No, nobody said anything.
All right, it's a couple of minutes after 12. This time we'll call the regular monthly board meeting of Housing Authority to order. Our June meeting, and let's see, got here. Go way down the agenda. Let the record show that all commissioners other than Commissioner Willie are present. Commissioner Sullivan is on virtually, and the other three commissioners are here. So at this time, entertain a move for approval of the minutes, a motion for approval of the minutes from our May 15th meeting. They were sent out, and trust everyone's had a chance to review them. And there's a motion.
Motion to approve.
I second.
Commissioner Lowe, Commissioner Crutcher, second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Unanimous. At this time, is there any old business to come before the board? There being none, we'll proceed on to our new business, and we'll say we're going to try to expedite the meeting. Our executive and some of the senior staff have a tour with one of the developers, I believe, of some of our sites for the C&I grant. So I'll turn it over to you, and you can get us moving.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. So we don't want to go fast, but we want to go quick. All right. So
Is that a basketball?
I'll turn it right over. First of all, thanks everybody for being here. We'll turn it over to Teresa for financial services.
All right, my first item is to ask the board to act on a resolution approving quarterly charge-offs for a period ending June 26, 2023. That should be June 30th, 2023. And I'll go forward and read the resolution. Whereas the Huntsville Housing Authority has on its books certain balances owed by former residents in various low-income developments owned and operated by HHA during the period ending June 30th, 2023. The amount of $10,828.90. Rent $7,267.70. Maintenance charges $1,202.20. Court costs $1,905. Late charges $383. Bulk cable $71. These write-offs are for 14 former resident accounts. 7 of the accounts for non-payment of rent, 2 accounts for non-payment of rent and maintenance charges, 1 account for non-payment of maintenance charges, and 4 deceased residents. And whereas HHA has made and is making reasonable effort to collect said balances, now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the Huntsville Housing Authority that the aforesaid accounts in the amount of $10,828.90. And the chart is attached for you to see the breakdown of this information. And that's resolution number 2023-12. Are there any questions?
Any questions or comments? There being none, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the resolution as presented.
I motion to approve the quarterly charge-offs.
Commissioner Crutcher,
I'll second.
Mr. Miller, second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Thank you. Our next item is the presentation of the low-income housing finance report for the period ending April 30th, 2023. As this is the first month of our fiscal year that we are presenting to you, beginning with total revenue. As stated before, there have been no drawdowns of CFP operating money. We have not received an invoice for the elevator repair at Johnson Towers yet. So this line will continue to trend under until we get a request for payment. Moving forward down to total administration. With these line items here, all administration lines are within budget for the first month of the fiscal year with the exception of employee benefits. The audit fee expenses will not be incurred until June of 2023, and there were no expenditures for advertising, marketing, legal, training, or travel. We did incur legal expenses, but we didn't have the invoice at the time that these financials were prepared, and they are now in-house. Moving forward to total tenant services, the tenant services is under budget in salaries but offset by benefit expenses. The training and travel April 2020 expenses were minimal, and these savings net a favorable variance for this line item. Moving forward to the second page of the financials, total maintenance is within budget. We usually trim within budget, and this is just the first month of expenses that we see so far. Also moving down to total other, the collection loss and casualty loss incurred no expenses for April 2023. Collection loss is expensed quarterly. There were no activities in any other line item. So at this present time for April 30th, 2023, we had an increase in the unrestricted net position of $159,694.10 in comparison to a break-even budget for the fiscal year 3/31/2024. You have any questions?
On number 2,
Yes, sir?
we had an increase in benefit costs. Is that,
This,
can you explain that?
well, let me see, at $488.75, I need to explain. We have not, it was where we budgeted accordingly. There could have been a change in someone choosing single versus family, but that's what I see there.
If it was that minimal, I could
Oh, okay.
give me an explanation, but what I was getting at is, have we received our renewal from Blue Cross Blue Shield for the coming year?
Yes,
Thank
sir,
you,
and it was
Vanessa.
a
So,
decrease.
It was a
It
decrease?
was a decrease in our coverage.
How much?
What's that?
3%.
3%.
Around 3.3% decrease.
Okay, good. Very good. Anybody have anything else? Any questions or comments?
Motion to approve. No, it's not a resolution.
Not a
sorry.
resolution.
Jumping the gun here. Got it.
Glad you're ready. Go
We're ready, man. Quick.
Okay, let's go.
I'll listen to Tony.
Thank you so much.
All right, is that all from finance?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to housing operations.
Yes, we'll turn it over to Terry.
Good afternoon. I have 3 resolutions to present to you today. The first one is 2023-13, a resolution authorizing the Executive Director, CEO, Contracting Officer to enter into a contract for moving services for ceiling repairs at Northwoods. The Huntsville Housing Authority requested proposals from qualified firms and individuals to provide moving services for residents relocating for the Northwood Ceiling Repairs Project. We received 4 bids, and Rocket City Movers of Huntsville LLC was deemed to be the most responsive bidder in according with the contract specifications for the moving services. So we wanted to proceed with that. The way this, I have a chart attached which looks at the costs that were submitted by each of the contractors, and the way that it was determined that Rocket City Movers of Huntsville LLC was the lowest bidder was to look at the number of bedroom sizes that would be moved, and they were deemed to be the lowest bidder. So I would like your approval to go ahead and approve the resolution authorizing the CEO to enter into a contract to provide moving services for Northwoods Ceiling Repairs Project. It's resolution 2023-13. Any questions?
Quick question. On your spreadsheet, you've got full move versus move only as 2 different costs. What's the difference between a full move and move only?
So if if you do a move and they come in and they box everything up for you and do the whole thing and the resident isn't doing anything, it's one cost.
Okay.
If the mover comes in and you box up your own items and all they're doing on the day of the move is coming in and moving those boxes, it's another cost.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
Are we moving people within the same site, or are they going to other?
So far, now, I'll go back to our last board meeting where you approved the ceiling repairs project and had a contractor. Mike Norman presented that to you.
Right.
We had already moved some people so that they could be ready, those units would be empty so that they could proceed. Now, those people that did move, moved within Northwoods to other units in Northwoods. And I'm going to, I don't like to use the word assume, but most people want to stay within Northwoods.
Sure.
Of course, if they want to move to another site, they would have the opportunity to do it at that time. Now, this would be a one-time relocation. They will not be going back to their original unit. They will be moving to another unit that meets their family's size and
Okay,
needs.
if it's there.
Now, there are a few of these people that are under or over housed, so when we move them, they'll be moving to a unit that meets their family's
Right.
requirements.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Is there a motion for approval of the resolution as presented?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Lowe. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Crutcher. Any other comments or questions? If none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, still got Mr. Sullivan on here. We lost you on that last vote. All right, thank you very much for that one.
Okay, my next resolution is Resolution 2023-14. It's a resolution approving the Executive Director, CEO, Contracting Officer to enter into a contract to provide lawn care services for Meadow Hills and Stone Manor. The Huntsville Housing Authority posted an invitation for bids for lawn care and landscape maintenance for 5 public housing sites that included a total of 132 units. 5 vendors submitted bids, and as a result, Rocket City Lawn Specialist LLC, not related to our previous contractor. They are not the same
I was gonna
organization.
say, I thought this might be Commissioner Sullivan just in his
No.
truck.
I know, that's the first thing I said, excuse me? Are they doing lawn care and moving? But no, they just happen to have Rocket City as the first part of each of their names. So Rocket City Lawn Specialist LLC was deemed to be the apparent lowest bidder for Meadow Hills and Stone Manor. If you look at the chart below, you will see that they had the lowest bid and they were selected for those 2 sites. The annual cost for landscaping maintenance services for this contract will be $36,042.50. The contract is for a period of 1 year with 4 one-year exercisable options for a maximum of 5 years. I would request that the Board of Commissioners approve Resolution 2023-14 to provide lawn care services for Meadow Hills and Stone Manor.
So are there any other considerations given for anything other than being the lowest bid?
Well, they also have to be deemed to be able to fulfill the contract. They have to have the right equipment. They have to have submitted their bid with all the right documents and the bonds that were required. There are several requirements, thank you, Teresa, that all contractors have to meet in order to be able to bid.
Not to get into a big discussion of all of our sites, but it gets kind of confusing. We do some of it in-house, and then like these scattered sites, and some of the other sites we bid out. Will all that be coming up for renewal here for grass cutting season?
Different contracts are at different times,
Right.
but the ones that we do, we're not bidding. on.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Which ones are we doing?
We're doing Northwoods and Butler Terrace, they're all happening.
Okay, we got some big ones, yeah.
And you cut Sparkman Homes also.
Sparkman
Even
Homes,
the
yeah.
grass.
Sometimes.
And then our other sites have other contractors where the time period for renewals, they were still capable of getting a renewal on their contract. 5 years wasn't up. These are the sites where the 5 years were up from their previous contract, so we had to go back out again.
Okay, it just gets a little confusing with all the moving parts, but in general,
There's a lot.
being out at the sites, I know we hadn't gotten into the thick of it with all the rain and everything, but the sites have really looked good and seem like the grass is mowed and the sidewalks are edged, and everything. It's been looked pretty good so far.
Those are definitely the ones that we're doing.
Well, Northwood, yeah, that's where I see one the most. Okay, any of the other questions or comments from Ms. Boyd? Being none, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the resolution.
Motion to approve.
I second.
Mr. Lowe, Commissioner Crutcher seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Unanimous. Thank you, sir.
Okay, my last resolution is a resolution approving the Executive Director, CEO, Contracting Officer to enter into a contract to provide lawn care for Meadow Hills and Stone Manor. This is resolution number 2023-14. As part of the same request for contractors to submit bids, this contractor, Rocket City Lawn Care Specialist, wait a minute, I'm on the wrong one, wrong page. 4A Services was selected for Windtrace Cotton Row and Mahogany Row. So this is part of the same bid process, but we selected 4A Services as the contractor for these sites. The total contract amount for maintenance and landscaping at these three sites is going to be $26,400. As like the last one, this is an annual amount that has 4 one-year exercisable options for a maximum contract period of 5 years. Does anyone have any questions?
I don't have anything. If I got any questions? All right, thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Commissioner Crutcher. Commissioner Sullivan seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
good, thank you.
At this time, assisted housing.
Good afternoon. I come to you concerning resolution number 23-16, a resolution approving a revision to the HCB administrative plan for the EHV program, specifically related to the EHV service fees. The purpose of this request is to revise the EHV program service fees. HHA must revise the current policies in order to maintain compliance as mandated by HUD. HHA adopted HCB administrative plan for the EHV program must be revised as needed for compliance. The proposed revisions are as follows. Service fees and tenant readiness services. Moving cost incentives. HHA will reimburse moving expenses, including moving fees and deposits up to $2,000. The reimbursement of the moving expenses is dependent upon available funds and detailed receipt documentation. HHA may provide assistance for some or all of the family's reasonable moving expenses when they initially lease a unit with the EHV. HHA may not provide moving expense assistance for subsequent moves unless the family is required to move for reasons other than something the family did or failed to do. Example, the BHS terminating the HAP contract because the owner did not fulfill the owner's responsibilities under the HAP contract. Or the owner is refusing to offer the family the opportunity to enter a new lease after the initial lease term, as opposed to the family choosing to terminate the tenancy in order to move to another unit. Or a family has to move due to domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking, for example. Tenant readiness services. HHA may use the service fees funding to help create customized plans to address or mitigate barriers that individual families may face in renting a unit with an EHB, such as negative credit, lack of credit, credit repair, negative rental or utility history, or to connect the family to other community resources, including COVID-related resources that can assist in rental arrears. Economic impact. The EHB program one-time service fee is used to support the program's effort in implementing and operating an effective EHB program that will best address the needs of EHB eligible individual and the family in this jurisdiction. Don't have any attachment. Recommendation, the executive director, CEO recommends approval of the revision to the administrative plan for the EHB program.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Danson. Are there any questions or comments about this change? There being none, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the resolution as presented.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Lowe.
And I'll second.
Motion. Commissioner, we've got 2 seconds. I'll go with Commissioner Cratchit. A little slow there on the draw, but thank you. Save that one for us. And all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Unanimous. Thank you. I think you got one more item.
Yes. The Assistant Housing Department has a second request for board action, and that is to act on Resolution 2023-17, approving revision to the HCV Administrative Plan, specifically related to shared housing. The purpose of this request is to revise Chapter 15 of the Admin Plan, Special Housing Type, with respect to 24 CFR 982 Subpart M, Section 4, Shared Housing. HHA must revise the current policies in order to maintain compliance as mandated by the Department of Housing and Urban Development. HHA's adopted HCV Administrative Plan exists to help determine eligibility for admission and continued participation in the program. This plan must be revised as needed for compliance. The proposed revision is as follows. Chapter 15, Special Housing Type, revised HHA policies. Families will be permitted to use any special housing type such as shared housing in accordance with requirements of the program under 24 CFR 982-601, Section B, Number 1. HHA is required to permit the use of any special housing type such as shared housing if needed as reasonable accommodation so that the program is readily accessible and usable by persons with disabilities. And that is with respect to 24 CFR 982-601B3. The impact of shared housing can be a viable option for families seeking economical housing under various market conditions. Families in markets with tight rental conditions or with a prevalence of single-family housing, for example, may determine a shared housing living arrangement to be a useful way to secure affordable housing. Just to clarify, our current admin policy states that families will not be permitted. And the purpose of this request is so that our families can be permitted to utilize the non-conventional concept of shared housing. Are there any questions?
Anybody got anything on this one?
You sure?
Ms. Spencer. We'll entertain a motion for approval.
I motion to approve.
Mr. Crutcher,
I'll second.
Commissioner Lowe seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion approved unanimously.
All right, I want to thank everybody for their reports. Just to give a real quick background of the last two, we want to put a cap on moving expenses so that it will be in our policy so that residents will know that there is a cap. We had a resident who was moving from New York who wanted all of their expenses included. And so that's going to help us to notify our residents of what those expenses can go up to. And then the second part, I don't know if shared housing is something where an individual could actually rent a room from a citizen here, which we didn't allow that in the past, and now we're allowing that to happen. So I think that's going to be able to help us move the needle a little bit. We are at a housing crisis, and so we're trying to just open up as many opportunities as we can. So I thank y'all for sharing that, and thank the board for approving it. Real quickly, I do want to recognize a few of our resident board members being here today. Thank y'all for coming and being with us. But I wanted to break down my report into three categories: people, program, and portfolio. And I think as an organization, once we really start to narrow it down, it really just boils down to people, program, and portfolio. Our demographics report for, I'll start with assisted housing. As we remember 2 years ago, well, it's been 3 years now, when COVID hit, we had the opportunity to get emergency housing vouchers, and we were allotted 110 spots. To date, we've leased up 97 of those vouchers, and we have 13 people on the street searching for emergency housing. We have a total of 1,982 vouchers, and the number of families that we're currently serving is about 1,799, with an average income of about $14,505, which that stretches their income. Just being able to know that our families are right around $14,000. They can't really afford to live in Huntsville without the vouchers. So our voucher program really adds value, living conditions. Public housing, our numbers, we have, again, 98% occupancy. We have 2,918 people that we're assisting with the annual income of about $15,451, which is very significant. We don't have a lot of people that we can take care of right now. We have 546 people on the waiting list for public housing. That's a very significant number. So as we look at what we can do, we're probably going to have to find ways to just be creative with some of the partners and developers that we're working with so that we can create more affordable housing. Right now, we're interviewing developers for the Choice Neighborhood Initiative, which will give us an opportunity to revitalize this corridor going into downtown. Excited about that. Some of our board members have participated in those interviews, and so just excited about increasing that portfolio. But also, I wanted to talk about some programs that we have going on. We have a summer youth employment program going on right now, where we're allowing some of our teams to get an opportunity to work within the neighborhoods, within the lawn care, some of the Boys and Girls Club facilities that we have. We also have a summer basketball program where we have close to 50 kids who are playing basketball after the traditional hours, and it gives them a place to go and fellowship and to be safe. And so we're able to do that all the way up until the last week of the summer program. So excited about those programs, but also excited about the opportunity we have to really revitalize this neighborhood that we're sitting in. I think it'll be a transformation for the city that we all can be proud of one day. And most importantly, it'll increase capacity for us to house residents, which is our main thing. And so excited about all that. And I'm starting to get calls now from different developers. A lot of the apartments that have gone online, they're not leasing up like they thought they would. So we're starting to get calls again. So hopefully they'll be able to use our vouchers to help our residents get a place to stay. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. That's a good report. Any one signed up for public comment? Public comment. We'll wrap up the meeting with commissioner comments. Got anything, Mr. Love?
I haven't, I'm just looking forward to the meeting today and tomorrow.
Commissioner Sullivan? You there?
Yeah, nothing to add.
Nothing.
Great presentation.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to comment briefly on the facility at Cersei Homes. We talk a lot about partnerships and coming together and collaboration and everything, and seeing the facility be renovated over there. It's been, there've been a lot of folks. We've started the Boys and Girls Club over there last summer, and the facility really needed a lot of work on the interior, especially the kitchen. So different groups, our nonprofit from the Housing Authority, Friends of 400, which is a nonprofit related to the scouting group, and the Boys and Girls Club have all come together to really upgrade the facilities. If you get a chance to get by there, and our staff over there with Miss Vanessa, Miss Jessie, and Michael, and the maintenance crew is just part of the team. It really is a collaborative effort. You know, brand new kitchen put in, all new appliances, the new microwave went in last week, and so that it's really a community center for that neighborhood where we're feeding the children. There's serve days and feeding the families. The Boys and Girls Club has a meal program every day. The kids get a lunch and snacks, and the Generosity Foundation has come over on these serve days, and there's been a ton of cleanup. I mean, we filled up like 3 of the big dumpsters with stuff. You know, Mr. Farrar, the legendary Mr. Farrar, they keep talking about he never threw anything away, the Boy Scout leader over there for 30 years, and so we had accumulated a lot of things that weren't in use. So get by and check out the facility. We've accessed a new room over there, and that was part of the maintenance operation and shop, and it's beautiful. Got new floors and walls, and appreciate everybody's cooperation. I couldn't talk about this without mentioning Commissioner Sullivan, who spent a couple of weekends over there, just one recently, a whole weekend just doing the floors, bringing those floors back to life. So we appreciate it, and again, couldn't have a better example of some other churches have come in besides Church of the Highlands with Generosity. So it's been a truly spirited work together, and we're now seeing about 30 kids a day, and kids that seeing them all day every day, and then the scouts come in on Tuesdays. They have girls night, Wednesdays the Boy Scouts, and Saturdays. So getting a lot of use out of the facility, and appreciate everybody's contribution to that. That's like the Envision Center model. That's a great representation of that. Hopefully we can replicate it at some of the other sites. You got anything to add to that? You've been spearheading a lot of it.
I don't have anything to add.
I want to thank Delvin for his work. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Anything else to come before the board at this time? Being done, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.